In a Noahide society, a Noahide judge must meet several criteria. He must meet the physical requirements. For example, he must be of a certain age and he must be a male. He must meet the knowledge requirements, and he must meet the character requirements. We've already discussed some of the knowledge and physical requirements, but in this video we delve into the character requirements. So let's get into it. A Noahide judge, and really any judge, not just Noahide judges, should have the following 7 good qualities. They should have wisdom, humility, fear of God, disdain for money, love of truth, beloved by the people at large, and a good reputation. To better understand these 7 qualities, let's go through what Jethro, Moses' non-Jewish father-in-law, said to Moses when he advised Moses on how to pick judges. He says, "And you shall find from among the entire people men of power, God-fearing people, men of truth, people who despise money, and you shall appoint them leaders, as judges and officers." Let's now analyze each quality that Jethro mentions. The phrase men of power, in Hebrew ish chayil, means that these men should be courageous enough to save an oppressed person from an oppressor. Remember, this saving is one of the main principles of biblical justice. In fact, Moses, who was Israel's chief judge, saved Jethro's own daughters from cruel shepherds. The famous biblical commentator Rashi comments that the power in men of power means that the judge should be wealthy, so they won't feel a need to flatter or show favoritism to a wealthy litigant. In this way, too, the judge will have the courage enough to save the oppressed from the perhaps wealthy oppressor. Maimonides says that these men of power should be mighty and powerful in their observance of commandments. He says that these men have overcome their evil inclinations so that they don't have any unfavorable qualities or an unpleasant reputation. Ideally, there shouldn't be any bad rumors that are spread about the judges, like immorality or disgusting or forbidden acts. The people must respect the judge's rulings. Nachmanides, the Ramban, says that men of power, ish chayil, in any context, means that the person is capable of leading many people. In a judicial context, a man of power would then be wise, alert, and, of course, fair. Also, many commentaries note that men of power means that these men necessarily have the rest of the qualities that Jethro mentions. One of these qualities is that the judges should be God-fearing people. Instead of fearing men, they fear God. And interestingly, the name for God here is Elohim, which is usually used in the context of strict judgment. These judges should then know that God will judge them for their judgments. This thus induces a fear of God into the judges. One commentary notes that God-fearing people refers to the humble people, because humility leads to a fear of God. As Proverbs says, the result of humility is the fear of the Lord. Now these judges should also be men of truth. These men are naturally drawn to justice, fairness, and what is truly good. They love truth, hate violence. They hate the lawlessness and the crime, and recoil from all forms of crookedness. These men naturally want to save the oppressed from the oppressor because it is what is right. Men of truth are also wise. They know how to discern truth from falsehood in order to judge a true judgment according to the truth. Rashi offers a different perspective. He says that men of truth are those who keep their promises and their word. These men produce words that can be relied upon. Thus, when these men give judgments, their words will be accepted and heeded by the people. Moving on, Jethro says that these men should despise unjust monetary gain. These men aren't overly concerned about their own money or about accumulating wealth. Maimonides says that anyone who is overly concerned about wealth will necessarily be overcome by want, by the urge for more. We don't want our judges to want, because wanting can then lead to them taking bribes. In hating unjust gain, a judge will never take a bribe because a bribe is unjust gain. Similarly, the judge shouldn't be concerned that he will lose money on account of his true judgment. And then Jethro says, "And you shall appoint them as leaders." These men should be men who are worthy to lead the people. They are assertive in their opinions, and they are not easily swayed by the opinions of others. And this is good because they're committed to the truth. So when they're committed to the truth and not easily swayed by others, we have leaders who are leading in the path of truth. Finally, notice that Jethro says from among all the people. Now, no word in the Torah is superfluous, unnecessary. Why does Jethro say from among all the people and not just from among the people? The word all teaches that judges shouldn't just be chosen from a select elite group, but they should be selected from within the people as a whole. Our sages understand that if these individuals are chosen from all the people, they will be individuals who are known by the community and thus are representatives of the community. Because they come from the community, the people will recognize them and be willing to accept their authority. So we see here that our wise non-Jew Jethro essentially covered it all. We can really pick out all 7 qualities just from looking at his advice. But there's another place in the Torah concerning the appointment of judges, and that verse is Deuteronomy 1:13. Moses says, "You shall appoint men of wisdom and understanding, known by your tribes." Here, we explicitly see that a judge must have wisdom and understanding, the knowledge that we talked about in a prior video. But also, he says that the judge should be known by your tribes, by the people. The Hebrew word for known here is yadua, which carries a connotation of appreciation and belovedness. So these judges must be appreciated by the people at large. Maimonides asks, what makes these judges be appreciated by the people? He answers, by conducting themselves with a favorable eye and a humble spirit, being good company, and speaking and conducting their business with people gently. Finally, since Moses was chief judge, Maimonides notes that since Moses was humble, all judges should be humble. Moses was the chief judge, and humility was his defining trait. We want all of our judges to emulate the chief judge, and the chief judge was known for his humility. We also see in the Talmud that when they were searching for judges, they didn't just search for people who were well-liked and wise, but also humble. Now, as you might have noticed, the character qualities of an ideal judge are pretty demanding. Few people meet all of these criteria, although we should certainly strive to. But the Midrash asks an interesting question. Why weren't these 7 qualities listed explicitly in one verse? Why does Jethro only explicitly mention 4 of them, and Moses explicitly mention 3 of them? Why aren't they just all listed 7 in one verse? The Midrash says that it is to teach us that if we can't find all 7 character traits in one person, then we try for Jethro's 4. And if we can't find that 4, then we try for Moses' 3. And if not 3, then we try for 1. It's essentially saying that if we can't find somebody who meets all of these character traits, we should try to find somebody who has most of them. After all, Jethro only mentioned 4 of them explicitly and Moses 3. In such cases where no qualified scholars are available to judge, the town must nevertheless appoint from among them the best and wisest individuals. Although these men may not be ideally fit to serve as judges, their authority is established through the acceptance of the community. Assuming that these men who they appoint are not completely unworthy of judging, once a community accepts them as its court, no individual may later disqualify them. Again, the communal acceptance creates a binding authority. And this is rational. It's like a contract. You can't just walk away from a contract when it no longer suits you. If someone could say in the middle of the case, "No, this judge is unqualified, I want somebody else," then that would destroy the entire judicial system. However, if an appointed judge is found to be completely unworthy of judging, for his character traits are the opposite of the 7 good character traits that we mentioned earlier, to use examples from the Divine Code, he loves money and bribes, he's excited by riches, and he flatters others in an extreme fashion, it then becomes an obligation under the Noahide obligation to uphold justice to remove that person from his judicial position. To close, a judge must have 7 good character traits. These character traits are wisdom, humility, fear of God, disdain for money, unjust profit, love of truth, beloved by the people at large, and a good reputation. We've seen how they're derived from Jethro and Moses, and with the help of our sages, we know what each quality means. This video was on the character traits of a Noahide judge. On this channel, we delve into the entire Noahide judicial system, which is the judicial system of the future. So subscribe to stay tuned. Thank you guys, as always, for watching.